Question number 6, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister of State Enterprises and asks, does he stand by all his statements with regard to asset sales?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, yes, absolutely, within the context they were given.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Minister, does he stand by his statement regarding asset sales that, quote, this legislation and debate is about debt, it is about controlling our nation's debt, unquote, and given that according to Treasury and the BPS, selling assets will increase the deficit and debt in the long term, leaving the country worse off, will he accept Labor's proposed amendment that prevents the sale of SOEs with control of water resources, given that his government's own support party, United Future, has pledged not to sell water resources off?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, I think there was about 4 legs in that question, but certainly don't agree with his characterisation of Treasury's view of the mixed ownership model.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Given the deficiencies outlined in the bill, will he accept Labor's proposed amendments which would make these companies subject to the Official Information Act and allow oversight by the Ombudsman in order to safeguard the public interest? If not, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, I don't accept the supposition in the first clause of that member's question.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
To the Minister, will he accept Labor's proposed amendment which would prevent New Zealand-based energy-generating assets being sold offshore? If not, why not?
The Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of State-Owned Enterprises, it's important for the member to note that the government at all times is going to hold on to at least 51% of these state-owned enterprises. I appreciate that seems to be something he's determined to miss, but nevertheless it happens to be the case.
Question number, point of order, the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
Mr Speaker, that was an extremely straight question. It simply asked, well, if the answer is going to be given, it should be given in the proper way, I'll put it to you, sir. It asked a very straight question. It required a straight answer.
I hear what the member's point of order is, a perfectly fair point of order. If I recollect his question correctly, though, he asked whether the Minister would support a Labor Party amendment that would prevent state assets being sold overseas. And the Minister answered that, as I heard him, because the Minister pointed out the assets couldn't be sold overseas because over 50% of the ownership remained with the government. So the majority ownership of the assets would remain in New Zealand hands. And that's what he said, that the government retained over, was retaining over 50%, and therefore they couldn't be sold overseas. And that's the problem with wording of a question. I accept it looked simple, but it actually left an out for the Minister. Question number 7, Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Justice.